going on, people? It's your boy Nando. You know what it is. It's the Pound for Pound Boxing Show in association of Seconds Out Coffee. Today, I've got a very special guest. Team USA's #1 heavyweight boxer, Darius Fulghum, joins us today. He's going to talk about, obviously, his pro debut signing with Sam Jones SJam and a lot more. Let's get Darius on.
Yo, how's it going?
How's it going, Darius? How you doing?
Everything's going well with me. How's everything on your end?
All good, thank you. Listen, young man, I want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. It's an honor to speak to you. Obviously, heard good things through Sam Jones about you.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for taking your time to speak to us today.
No, I appreciate you taking your time.
No, anytime. First of all, congratulations on this big deal with Sam Jones and SJam. How did this deal come along? How did you get in contact with Sam Jones himself and SJam? How did it happen?
It's been a long time coming, actually. It's been a long process. I've been talking to Sam for a while now, for about over a year. And I'm glad we found this day has finally come. You know, we finally solidify everything that we've been talking about over the past year. You know, I kind of tell, like I said, a lot of managers that, you know, my only goal was the Olympics. You know, that was my main goal, my main focus, my main priority. Didn't want to worry about the pros at that point in time. So I always kept the conversations pretty short, but me and Sam kept in touch, and I've really got good vibes from him. You know, he's a real stand-up dude. He's got everybody's best interest. I heard a lot of great things from other people that had no affiliation with him either. There weren't people that were already signed with him. These are just random people that I've heard from, you know. So been a long time coming. I'm finally glad to be a part of the team.
Amazing. I'm not just saying it. Listen, Sam Jones is one of the most recognized, one of the best managers, not in the UK, but in world boxing itself. Mm-hmm. You know what? A lot of people in the US that don't know about Sam Jones will know about him because when he promotes you, believe me, everyone will know about him.
Yeah.
When he first got in contact with you, did you know much about his stable, the likes of Joe Joyce, who is a former Olympian, you know, Lerone Richards as well, Florian Marku? Mm-hmm. Did you know any about these boxers?
Really, the main person I really knew is Joe Joyce. I have heard about him for a while, so he was the main guy that I knew. And that was one of his first kind of really big signings was Joe Joyce. So I was really familiar with him. But then once Sam got in contact with me, I started looking to all his other fighters, and they're all doing extremely well.
Amazing. Let's talk about the Olympics. Obviously, in 2019, you won the trials and you were ready to go to Tokyo. Due to what's going on in the world right now and COVID, the 2020 Olympics got postponed. It's going to happen this summer now without spectators. They just announced it, I think, yesterday. It's going to go ahead. What made you not wait and maybe go this summer and maybe turn pro afterwards? What was it that made you just think, you know what, I want to go pro? Was the opportunity just too big to say no to?
Well, no, what actually happened for my situation was IOC kind of made, let's say a rule change, but our qualifier to get into the Olympics got canceled. And so unfortunately for me and for a lot of my other teammates, we didn't have a single opportunity to qualify. What ended up happening was they changed the requirements for our region of the world. It was crazy. It was only our region of the world. So before pandemic hit, the Asian, Oceanic region and the African region, they already had their qualifiers. We were going to have ours. Pandemic hit, and everything got postponed. So our region and the European region didn't finish their qualifiers yet. And when it got time for ours, when ours got postponed, it got completely canceled. Ours is the only one. The European actually ended up going on like a month later, and they finished their qualifier. So ours got canceled, and what they ended up doing was they based it off of rankings from like 2017 to 2019. And that's how they allowed people to get those quota spots for our region. And unfortunately, like I said, for me and a couple of my other teammates, we weren't on the team at the time to have any ranking points to get our spot. So we're unfortunate, you know, we didn't even get an opportunity to compete. So that's the reason why, I didn't go forth with the Olympics. So I'm going pro now.
You know, they always say one door closes, another one opens, and it's a blessing in disguise. Obviously now You have a massive opportunity with Sam Jones. Obviously, he's going to be your promoter, your manager. But are you under any promotions at the moment? Any deals with anyone?
I haven't officially signed with anybody, but we're in talks with several promoters and stuff, and so trying to take that, do that slowly, carefully, do it the right way, and sign with the promoter that can give me the best. That's got the best plan for me, and then once we do that, then I have my debut set, and when I finally showcase my skills on the pro side.
If you had a choice, not to step on anyone's toes.
Look, the choice really doesn't matter to me. Like I said, once I hear what's the best plan, I think that's what really matters. They all do great things. All the promoters, all Top Rank, Matchroom, PVC, Golden Boy. They all do amazing things. So it's about who can do the best thing for me.
Let's go back to the beginning. What made you get into boxing? Who inspired you to get into boxing?
Actually, it really wasn't nobody really inspired me. The first inspiration I had was when I was maybe like in third grade or something like that. I was watching George Lopez, and his on the show, Max had got into boxing, and that was the first time I really ever kind of seen boxing. And we were kind of maybe around the same age at the time or something. And I remember watching that, like, oh, dude, that looks so cool. Like, I want to do that as well. Told my parents about it, and they were trying to get me into a boxing gym back home in Killeen. And so for some reason, I never went. I remember going to a boxing gym, but I never signed up or anything, which was a blessing because I didn't have the mentality for boxing at that age. I would end up, quitting or something. I wasn't in a good mentality. So I actually started at the perfect time when I was around going on 19 years old. And I was wrestling at the time in high school. And when wrestling was finished, I had a competitive drive. I wanted to do something else. And originally I was going to get into MMA because I had a wrestling background. But then I started boxing. And I fell in love with it immediately. And so, yeah, this is what I want to do. There's nothing else I wanted to do. I love the accountability that came with the sport. I love the drive, the push. I had plenty of time to be great too. And there's so many opportunities and that I had, so many people that I met, along this journey. And it's been the best decision I made. I'm happy with it. I'm loving every moment of this journey.
I read a story. Obviously, your family's from a military background. Your father was in the military. I don't know if he still is, but with that background, does it help you to be disciplined in your training in boxing?
Absolutely. So yeah, my father's retired now, but he was in the military. That's how I ended up got to Fort Hood, Texas. And most definitely, and the reason why is because he was a perfect kind of figure for that. It wasn't like he told me that you had to be disciplined, you need to do this. He lived by that. That's something that he lived by. So I seen it every day, how hard he worked and how disciplined he was. I seen him getting up early in the morning, going to work when he was sick, when he didn't feel like it. He provided and made a lot of sacrifices for us. So I seen it firsthand, and so he's one of my biggest role models kind of growing up. So that played a big part in where I'm at now. When I was a kid, I didn't fully understand it, but as I was getting older, that's something that was just ingrained in me that I don't have to think about.
Does he ever have an influence now on your training? Does he ever try to, get you up, do some drills or anything?
So, my pops, he be trying to. It's so funny because he never laced up gloves before. I'm the only one that's in generations or whatever that's ever boxed. This is completely new to us. My pops and my brother, baseball, football players. That's what they excelled at. But this is something that's new to my family. But my dad, when he was growing up, he always watched boxing. So he'll always give me pointers on what he thinks is right. Like he'll never. What he always says is, he said, "I'd rather just tell you. And, if I see something, I feel like I should tell you, as my son." But he always puts the disclaimer. He said, "Now, mind you, I've never laced up gloves before in my life," which is something I always appreciate, because it's one thing of watching it. It's another thing of actually doing it. But yeah, so he always puts that disclaimer out, like, "I've never done this before, but what I think you should do is this, or whatever." And he'll give his little pointers and stuff, which I always appreciate. He's my parents and my mom, my biggest supporters. My mom is on everything, so I'm blessed to have both of them in my life.
Amazing. And you know what? As a father, you know what? He's always going to give you pointers no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. and they always keep me grounded too, which is the beautiful thing. So no matter what happens, I always be grounded. I came from a good family.
Amazing. That's brilliant. Let's talk about, obviously you have a nursing degree as well. How did that happen?
Kind of similar. It's That's something I've always said I was going to do. That kind of happened before I was boxing. I remember in high school, I was at this career center and was taking LVN classes. As long as I remember, that's what I was going to do. There's so many great opportunities that came with nursing, in terms of job security and job flexibility, that I loved. I never want to be those people who get degrees and can't get a job in the degree they got. So my whole thing, and the thing that I preach most about, is securing your future, and that's something that I made sure that I did. And I always put school first. School was my main priority. I didn't want to do anything else besides school. I was not going to go pro until I finished school. That was,
Amazing.
and no matter how many times, even after I won national golden gloves, I had so many people telling me, "Oh, yeah, go pro, go pro, go pro." I said, "No, no, no," because I was still in school at the time. I said, I'm not going pro till that's my main focus, and that's kind of how everything's working out now, where I already graduated with school, already passed my NCLEX, I got my license, so I could put all I can into boxing. Nursing's kind of behind me right now. I'm focused all on this, because this is what I want in my future. This is what I'm destined to do.
That's really inspirational because you know what, you don't get a lot of people like that. You know, straight away they go to college, and then if they get that first opportunity to be drafted in the NBA or the NFL or
Yeah,
the NHL, they don't want to finish school. They just rush into it, and then you know, if they're early in their career, they get injured. Then what do you do? You
yeah.
know,
What do you do? Yeah, you kind of out of luck. That's the one thing about being, in athletics is. So they always talk about student athletes. I think it's super important that everybody has their plan B set up. I had conversations with people about this, and they don't think like about having a plan B. Like I've heard somebody tell me, they said you shouldn't have a plan B because your plan A should never fail. That's always a good mentality to have, but it's also not the smartest decision. You got to have multiple options. You got to be very versatile in what you do, because you want to always be secure. Having that security is always a blessing. You
of
know, some people think that because I don't have my back against the wall, and be, I have to make it in boxing. Look, if I wanted a stable job, I can do nursing, but this is my passion. You know what I mean? This is what I'm giving my all to. I'm giving all my time and energy to. Um, so I'm going to succeed. Some people think it'll hold me back, but look, I'm destined for this, so I'm not worried about that.
amazing. And look at the bright side. You won't even need a corner. All you need is
I want it.
all you need is someone to hold the bucket for you. You just need to wait. You're
I,
like, okay, I'll do this.
I won't need. I won't need. Yeah, I won't even need a cup, man. I'll be telling him what to do, right?
That's it. But obviously, it's a long time from now. You're still a young man. Is it something you want to continue with nursing? Maybe in the future, get into more the medical side, or maybe your boxing and sport as well when it's
Yeah,
time
I've
to
always
retire in
thought
the
about
future.
anything dealing with sports med, because I feel like sports is my passion. That's what I've grown up and what I've loved doing since I've been a kid, and so I feel like eventually I'll find a way to mesh those two together and find some perfect harmony where I can still be attached to sport. Because when a lot of people retire, they still need to be attached to the sport that they've been doing their whole life.
Yeah,
Whether you see retired boxers that become coaches, own gyms, if they become managers, or if they become commentators, or whatever the case may be, they have to be attached to the sport somehow. And so I think eventually I'll find a way to kind of mesh those two and work it out.
brilliant. Let's talk about your amateur career. You won the Golden Gloves in 2018.
Yeah.
If you're not a boxing fan, you won't know how prestigious the Golden Gloves is. The likes of Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Lewis. It's an honor to even compete in it, let alone win it.
Yeah.
What was that feeling winning it? It
I,
had to be just like amazing.
I think and what's crazy about Golden Gloves is I think even people who aren't boxers, even before I was boxing, I've heard of Golden Gloves. That's something everybody talks about. Even people will say, "Yeah, yeah, my uncle was a Golden Glove," or yeah, they always will mention that. But at the level that I was able to accomplish, that was huge. And at the weight class I did, because I normally I was fighting at light heavy, and on accident I was fighting at heavyweight. So I actually went up a weight class, um, because like I said, I was in school at the time, and my schedule and working out where I was able to Houston Golden Gloves and go to win Texas Golden Gloves and then go to National Golden Gloves, which is like 1 week at a time. And when I was in school, I couldn't afford to take off for these many weeks, but my schedule I'm lining up perfectly. And I had went and fought at heavyweight, which is at 91 kilograms. I fought there because I was a better competition in Houston at the time. And I thought that was about as far as I can go because my schedule wouldn't allow me to go any further. But everything started to open up for me perfectly. And like when I was going to National Golden Glove School, it ended, that semester ended like on a Thursday. And I left like on Saturday to go to Nationals, which it worked out perfectly. But like I said, I was fighting upper weight class. And I remember being in the finals. It was a surreal feeling. I was fighting, one of my rivals now, good friend of mine now, and it was a amazing fight, and just to be there in that moment because a lot of people can fold in those moments, but I was able to thrive in that pressure, and it was amazing. My family was there too, so it was a beautiful feeling. I'll say for sure.
And to be among the names, like I mentioned before, and
Mm,
that just must feel absolutely incredible.
absolutely, huge blessing, a huge accomplishment.
And to by accident, you're a light heavyweight. I can understand going to cruiserweight, but you went 2 weight classes up to heavyweight.
Yeah,
That's nuts. And winning it,
yeah.
you're destined for greatness then.
Destined for greatness, I'm telling you.
So
DFG.
let's talk about your pro debut. Whenever that is, your pro debut is going to be at light heavyweight. Would you say that is the weight class that you are most comfortable in? Is that the weight that you feel most comfortable to?
I think so. If I was to try to go down to super middle at 168, I feel like I would hurt myself in terms of performance. That's something I could eventually try. I have to see how I feel. But 175 I can make for sure, and I know I feel strong at that weight. So I think that'd be the best. And there's still a stacked division as well too. Still got Better Beer, Bivol, Canelo's up and down from 68 to 75.
You got
Joe
Joe
Smith
Smith as well.
Jr. Yeah, it's a good competition at that weight class as well, and some up and coming guys too. So I think that's the perfect weight class for me.
Amazing. I don't know if you know much about the UK fighters in the division.
Okay, well then,
It's
huh?
just going nuts. You got Lyndon Arthur, who's
Yeah,
fighting tomorrow night. You got Joshua Buatsi.
yeah. Boatsy, I watch Boatsy all the time.
Yeah, you got Anthony Yard. You got Callum Johnson, and then another one is a former super middleweight world champion that Canelo beat. Is Callum Smith,
Yeah,
who's
Kalen
at
Smith.
175 as well. The
Yeah,
division.
real tall. Yeah, it's a real stacked division overseas too as well.
It's
Yeah, I
absolutely
watch. I watch. Hold on, because I watch Boatsy fight a lot, and he's fighting soon as well. I think at the end of the month or early August or something.
yeah. He's fighting
I didn't
Birmingham.
know. I didn't know Kalen Smith went up to 175 though.
Yeah, he's going up. Because the thing is, here in the UK, we felt like there wasn't really much for him much in the super middleweight division. I always felt like he was too big for that division, and he would have been
Yeah.
175, and he's doing it now. And we don't know when he's going to be fighting, but he announced it, and he's
Okay, he's going like yeah. And when I seen when he fought Canelo, the size difference was apparent too.
yeah,
You know, I don't know how tall he is. How tall is he? Was it 6'3"? That's
probably
just a
6'3",
six
something like
three.
that.
He's tall for super middle for sure.
Yeah, I think the light heavyweight division is perfect for him as well.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a really good division with a lot of stacked fighters too.
You excited to be in this division?
I am. I really am. I really am. I can't wait to start the process and start the journey of climbing back up to the top. It kind of reminds me back when I first started boxing. My whole goal was trying to get as many fights as I could and start climbing up that ladder. And now it's kind of like I'm right back in that same process of trying to back up proving myself, you know, which is always a great feeling climbing up. So I'm excited for that journey again.
Amazing. And could we ever see you could you see yourself? I know you talked about maybe going down the super middleweight, but you said maybe you might hurt yourself in that sense. You might feel a bit An example like drained, like for an example, like Demetrius Andrade. For me,
Mm-hmm.
he's too big for middleweight. He needs to go up. He looked drained in his last fight against
Mm-hmm.
Liam Williams. Could you see yourself going up, maybe eventually to cruiserweight?
One thing about cruiserweight is you always hear that cruiserweight is not much of a popular division. But most definitely, if there's nothing left for me at light heavy, then I can definitely go up to cruiser because I can be a good cruiserweight now if I wanted to, you know. So I could definitely see myself going up to cruiser.
Yeah. Well, the cruiserweight division, you know what, hasn't been very good for a very long time, to be honest. Hasn't been that exciting. But you know what? If the opportunity came to you, let's say you were current light heavyweight champion and you got the opportunity to become two-weight world champion at
Oh yeah, I'm
cruiserweight,
doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'd be a fool not to.
100%.
I'd be, I'd be a fool not to.
100%. And then you got the new one, Bridgerweight.
Yeah,
Hasn't been debut. There hasn't been a debut in that yet. So in the future, could
I'm
be a
curious
big
how the
one.
Bridger weight is gonna look.
It'll be
You know,
interesting to see that. It'll be interesting to see.
I'm gonna see how I want to. I'm actually curious on how that division will look.
100%. Has is there any idea when you can make your pro debut?
No official idea, but we're looking sometime early in the fall, so like around September. Um, that's a good estimate. You know, I don't know how long this process will take, but a good estimate is September. But
Amazing.
nonetheless, I'm training hard now, so whenever the debut will come, I'll make sure I'll be ready.
For the fans out there that obviously have not seen you box, what can you talk about your style? How can you compare it? I know you are your own man and
Yeah.
your own fighter, but if you could compare it similar to previous fighters or current fighters, who would you say it's kind of similar to?
You know, that's the one thing I say about my style is I've always said that my style is more adaptable, and that's why I was never really like I had to change a lot of my style for the amateurs. Because I feel like I have a lot better of a pro style fighting. Um, but one person I love watching and was my favorite fighter is Andre Ward, and I always try to. I love how he fights, man. I always wanted to fight just like him. Um, but mine's is way different than his because I can do a lot of things that he'd never done. And I'm not saying in like that in a disrespectful way at all, but I'm just saying like if it needs time for me to come in and be a brawler and press the fight, then I'll do that. You know, that's what I need to do to win. So my style is all about doing what needs to be done to get the job done. So, but how Andre Wolf was fighting, that's how I was watching how I wanted my fights to kind of emulate too. He was such a great boxer, so skilled, controlled his range really well, picked his shots perfectly. Um, and even Shakur, I like how Shakur fights too, both of them, because they control their range really well and know how to really unload their hands when necessary, and they're very accurate. So if I had to say anybody, I'm gonna just say Andre Ward.
Yeah, he's a legend. You brought up Shakur. He's in line to fight Jamal Herring. How do you see that fight going?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be completely honest, man. Shakur's one of those people. When I watch fight, I don't really see much. I don't see many people beating him, and the reason why his defense is way too good. You see him; he rarely gets hit in any of his fights. He controls his range too well. He's just one of those. He's like size like around Canelo. He's one of those people I don't really see losing right now.
No, he's a superstar in the making.
Yeah,
You can see already. The fight I would love to see Shakur in is against Michael Conlan. I think that would be an amazing fight.
that'd be explosive.
That would be an amazing fight.
That'd be a really good fight.
I don't know if you heard already. I don't know if it's unfortunate. Some fans were happy. Some fans who were looking forward to it were a little bit disappointed that the Tyson Fury Wilder fight is off. Wilder apparently tested positive for COVID. Was you looking forward to this fight?
I really was. Really looking forward to any of the big heavyweight fights. Like I was really looking forward to see the Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua when that was first announced. Um, but the both Fury and Wilder fights, I enjoyed watching both of them. Like the first one was an extremely good fight. Second one, still exciting fight, but it wasn't. You know, it only lasted I think it was 3-4 rounds. It didn't last very long, so it was a very dominant performance by Fury. But they were both exciting fights, and I still wanted to see this one to see if Wilder, could make his little comeback, that he kept talking about. The only thing I didn't like about Wilder was the excuses that he made from his last fight. I think it'd been a lot better if he just owned up to it and just said, that Fury was a better man tonight, but he's gonna come back harder. I didn't like the excuses, but I was still excited to see the rematch. Wilder looked like he was a lot more focused, getting ready in his training camp and his preparations for this one. So I want to see if there's going to be any change and to see, all these comeback stories are amazing to see, and I really want to see if Wilder was going to pull it off.
Apparently the report is October 9th, so let's see. Hopefully it happens. One more thing.
Wait, they said October 9th?
October 9th, it could
okay.
be.
Okay, I didn't see that. That was new to me. I didn't see that.
Yeah, the report, it's not official, but the reports are that it's looking like October 9th in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, which will be a week after Anthony and Joshua is set to fight.
Yeah, so what you think about the Usyk and
I have to sit on the fence. I'm not allowed to give my opinion. It's going to be a good fight. It's not going to go the way that everyone thinks it's going to go. It's not going to be that easy.
No, I don't. It's definitely at that level. Nothing's easy.
What's your opinion on this fight?
You talking about the Joshua and Usyk?
Yeah.
I want to watch some more of Usyk's fight. The one thing about Usyk is he moves. He's got really good movement and moves a lot. And I want to see how that looks with Joshua's style of fighting. I think it's really going to be interesting, but I think Joshua has I'm a big Joshua fan, to be honest with you. So I think my bias is going to make me say that I think Joshua's going to win. If I had to bet on anything, I think my bias is telling me to say Joshua, but after Joshua got clipped by Ruiz, he came back in the second fight and showed a really good boxing clinic,
Yeah.
And when I seen that, I realized that Joshua can box like that, So again, I would say Joshua. That's what I would go with.
I think a lot of people deep down want Joshua to win because they want this Joshua Fury fight.
Yes, okay. I think that's another reason too, because I really wanted to see that one, to be honest with you. Like, that was a huge mega fight that's going to pack out the entire huge stadium.
Yeah.
It's going to be an electric fight, so I really want to see that one too. So that's why I was really kind of hurt when Fury and Wilder kind of intervened on that fight.
Yeah.
I was like, man, because that ruined the possibility of that fight ever happening. A lot of these fights sometimes take a long time to make, and once that fight was made, I was like, the opportunity may not happen again for them to fight, because who knows what may happen in this one. If Joshua loses to Usyk, then it kind of cuts the need or desire to see that fight still.
We did over 30 interviews. We asked everyone who's going to win that fight. We were going to do a highlight reel of everyone's answers, and then it got cancelled. So imagine that. But we got it saved. So I want to ask you the question, just in case it does get saved and you could be on the highlight reel. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, who wins and why?
Oh, man, they ain't going to put me on the high reel. Okay, so again, I'm big fans of both of them, but I can't rule out Joshua, man. I want Joshua to win so bad. And I think that's more of I want than he will win. But I want Joshua to win, but I think Fury will win. Is that a fair enough answer?
Let me just tell you now that I don't know how many people we've asked, but only 2 people said Joshua out of over 30.
I don't blame him. That's why I said I want him to win, but I really think Fury will win.
One question I want to ask you, because one of the guys is in your division, and I want your opinion on this. Obviously, Eddie Hearn confirmed that they made a offer to Caleb Plant to fight Canelo Alvarez. If that doesn't go ahead, Canelo is looking to go up and fight
BF.
Who wins that?
Okay, so what I will say about this one, when I watched Better BF when he fought Gojdick, I don't know if you remember that fight. Gojdick was an extremely good boxer, but Better BF ended up breaking him down in the later rounds and stopping him in the fight, right? And so I was thinking about how that would look with Canelo and Better BF, but I think Canelo's got way too much experience, and I think Canelo has way too much poise and championship material, I think Canelo's gonna win. Because Canelo, it shows Canelo's power still carries over, and even though he went up in weight, he's been down at 54 and he's looked strong, but he's gone up to 75 and still look explosively strong. When he fought Kovalev, he looked ridiculously strong. Like you could tell the difference in the pop between those two.
Yeah.
And he's a really good counterpuncher, and I think I really do think Canelo will win against Beterbiev. Even though Beterbiev is the boogeyman of the division, I think Canelo will win.
The thing is, Beterbiev has only been dropped once, and that was from Callum Johnson from the UK.
Yeah.
And Callum Johnson can bang. He's got a punch in him. But Canelo's stronger.
Canelo's strong.
So it makes me think if Canelo catches him, can he take that punch?
Yeah.
But then it makes me think, even though Canelo took Triple G's punch, which no man has ever done before, can he take
Beterbiev's? So a good question. They could take their punch, man, but that's why I'm saying I think Canelo's really accurate, man. He's defensively sound. So Beterbiev still has to be able to hit Canelo as well. But he's really defensively sound and can counterpunch like crazy, man. So that's why I still think Canelo will win. But still an amazing fight to see nonetheless. I really do want to see Caleb playing and Canelo. I want to see both of them. But I still rather see Canelo unify the division and then go up to 175.
I totally agree. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, do you have a message for the fans and for your up and coming debut, whenever that is? Do you have a message for the fans when that happens and for them to tune in? And why?
Yeah, my message for the fan is tune in for the journey. It's gonna be a crazy one. It's gonna be a wild ride, and I can't wait to go on this with everybody. And I hope all the fans enjoy my fights as much as I'm enjoy fighting in the ring. So thank you for everybody that supported me. I really appreciate all the love and support that I get. It means everything to us young fighters coming up. So everybody stay tuned, keep watching, and keep supporting. Hopefully debut will be in around September, but once it is, I'll announce it for sure.
Perfect. And not in a way of you calling anyone out, but do you have a message for the light heavyweight division?
Really, my message light heavyweight division is I'm gonna be coming in a couple of years. Once I go through this little process of getting accustomed to the pros, I'm gonna be at the top for sure. I'm destined for greatness, man. So I'll be coming. I'm training hard already, so we'll be ready.
Get ready. The takeover is coming.
It's coming.
Darius, I want to say thank you for taking your time to speak to me today. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and I hope we can catch up soon again after your pro debut.
I hope so. Likewise. We'll stay in touch. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Stay safe and good luck with the pro debut when it happens.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.